So the wizard Liz has released a video, a much awaited one, by the way, where she finally breaks down this crazy and controversial scandal that went down with her ex-fiance, Landon.
My ex-husband slash fiance decided to send Snapchat messages to one of my fans. Girl said she was a fan of mine. She screenshot that with her other phone. She took a picture and she sent that to my friend. And that's how I saw it.
We're going to be taking a look at some of the key moments, more so to determine whether she's playing victim for her fans and so that people don't dismiss her advice and her career as a result, or whether she's taking responsibility for her own mistakes. Not the cheating, of course, but her own mistakes, and thus empowering herself and us, her viewers. So let's get into it.
There was not one bone in my body that would have thought that Landon was cheating on me. There's not one time I found something, not in his phone, not anything. Like, genuinely, this guy was attached to my hip. And I would constantly be the one saying, like, can you just leave? Can you go see your family? I found him a little bit too suffocating. And even in the video, like before this, in the Q&A, I say I want to live alone because we were so much on each other. So to see this for me was like a huge, big shock.
Guys, the first thing that really stands out to me in this video is that Liz's voice, is it just me? It sounds so different. I don't know if it's her voice, her accent, or both. I actually do think it's both. I think her voice is a lot softer, and we're used to hearing her be very strong on camera, have a very commanding presence, and have a very loud voice, and something I use myself in my Spanish YouTube channel, so no judgment there. But here she was so much softer, and it really just helped with the whole more mature vibe that she was trying to give off. And it's also interesting that her accent just sounds so much more Americanized. I don't know, it's because she has spent so much time with Landon by now, or because she's in the US. I don't know which one it is, but it definitely sounded very different. Something that I really don't like that Liz has been doing from the moment one and that she continues to do, and hear me out because I know a lot of you are going to judge what I'm going to say, but it's the fact that I feel like she's dragging Landon a lot and she's sharing a lot of his personal information with people online.
I would constantly be the one saying, like, can you just leave? Can you go see your family? I found him a little bit too suffocating. And especially when the person you're with is acting like such a godly man and he's accusing you always of cheating, and he's making it seem out to be like you're the one.
And here's the thing, if Landon was just a man that, you know, had cheated on her, or they've had some drama or some relationship drama and they had broken up, I still wouldn't think that it's the most decent or classy thing to do to share personal information about your ex with the world. But I could understand it and I'd be like, you know what, they're broken up, they can do whatever they want. However, because Landon is Liz's baby daddy and she did have responsibility in choosing him as a baby daddy, I mean, she literally chose him. She chose to get engaged with him and get pregnant by him before they even were a year together. Then I do think at this point she has to think more about the baby than about herself, than about her personal vendettas, or about convincing people online of whatever she wants to convince them. And when I hear her say private things to the internet, like how he's so insecure and how he's so suffocating and how she constantly had to reassure him that he is good looking and how his parents didn't love him and how he's controlling and this and that, I just really feel for their future child. And once again, I get hate when I say things like this because people think that me saying this means that it's Liz's fault. By no means am I saying that. It was that man's fault for being a boy instead of a man and doing what he did instead of taking responsibility for his wife, his pregnant wife. He's completely in the wrong here.
I think that's my first mistake I made. Like, I didn't go in to the relationship with the right intentions. I ignored my intuition from the beginning where I thought, wait a second, it's not normal how controlling he is over me. And I felt that intuitively I shouldn't be with him. I should have stopped there. Even if he sent me a big amount of money, even if he did all of that, I should not have continued and I should still have been friends.
But at this point, if she is the mom and she chose this man, she chose to have a child with this man that she wasn't even that into because of what she says or there for the right reasons, or she wasn't even that knowledgeable of what he's like because they hadn't been together for so long, then she also has to think about the baby. And this baby, whether we like it or not, is going to be bullied by the internet because of the drama that has happened between his parents and because of the things that they have said about each other. And I just think that's a really unfair position to put your child in. I really just think that out of respect for your babies, you should not be sharing all this private information with the internet. You should not be back talking this person on the internet, because at the end of the day, this is going to hurt your baby. And yes, I know he was the first one that was in the wrong to begin with. I am the first one who will say that. I am the first one who thinks this man is just so immature and deserves all the hate he's getting. Well, maybe not all of it, but some of it for sure. And yet I still think they both have to mature. They both have to be bigger than what they've been doing and think about their child and try to leave all this drama behind as much as possible, keep it private as much as possible, co-parent in whatever way they need, and just stop bad-mouthing each other, because this will 100% hurt the baby. And I think at that point, you should care more about your future baby's well-being and life and any comforts that he can have over telling the world and justifying yourself to the world and explaining this and that to people that don't even know you personally and who frankly don't even know both sides of the story. I'm not saying that regarding the cheating, but I am saying it regarding other things that she has shared about how toxic it was.
But then there was a moment where we went out and there was a Asian guy that wanted to talk to me and get to know me, and he thought I was really cute. Going outside for a talk, and Landon did not like that at all. And then basically followed us outside, and he got really upset with me, and he was like, "Why are you doing this? Don't talk to him." And these two guys almost got in a fight over me. And I then got a little bit of ooh, that was a red flag for me, because I thought, you're just like my ex, very controlling, very jealous. And I was like, I don't want to repeat this pattern again.
And in fact, let me use that point to say that I do think it's a little bit strange that when she was, talking to him or in the early stages of dating or whatever it was that they were doing, she went outside and talked to this guy that thought she was cute and wanted to get to know her. I would have also felt that that was disrespectful to me. And I'm not a man, if I were on a date, even if it's the first date that I'm on with a guy and some other girl comes over to him because she thinks he's attractive and is definitely trying to get to know him, and he just goes outside with her, I would be done. I would not stand for that. I'd be like, you are clearly not that much into me. You're very disrespectful. You're immature. I don't know what it is, but I don't want a part of it. So with this, I want to say that there's a lot that we don't know, and it's fine. We shouldn't know. It's their private lives, but we only have been told one side of the story. And because of some things that she herself has shared or even taken accountability for, which is good for her, it does show that she has quite some responsibility in the way things have turned out. And of course, let's not forget the whole, I'm not even that into him. I wasn't even attracted to my ex or to him or in love with him, and I didn't even get into this relationship for the right reasons.
When I saw that behavior from Landon, I really thought to myself, this is not for me. And I really thought,
why would you get pregnant by a man that you feel this way about? Don't you want your child to have a father and a mother who love each other and who are gonna be there through thick and thin? And who are there for the right reasons? And I understand she will, say that she has trauma and this and that.
My problem is I constantly think something feels off. And then you want to blame yourself, because I come from a very traumatized childhood. So if I feel that something is off, I blame it on my trauma. So it's almost like my head and my heart fighting with each other, because I'm not sure what I'm looking at here. He is perfect, does the right things, he does the right things. Yeah, we argue. Yeah, he's very jealous, he's controlling. But those are things that a lot of people deal with in their relationships,
And listen, I get it. I understand. And I feel sorry for her. But at the end of the day, we all have traumas, okay? And that's not to invalidate them or any of that. But at some point, you gotta take responsibility, and you gotta stop making the same mistakes that she herself has shared that she continued making in this relationship. So on one side, I am so glad that she's taking accountability on some things, because this girl has so many followers and she's such a huge role model for so many people. So my applause to her, because she has taken some accountability in this video. And this is something that very few public figures do. Very few. On the other hand, I do feel like the first half of the video is her taking responsibility for things. And then the second half just goes into this whole, I wasn't even into him. I just love money and spirituality this and spirituality that.
When I met Landon, I felt something with our souls connecting. And I realize now that it can be a soulmate kind of situation, but it can also be a karmic. And when you are with a karmic, they also look like you. And a karmic relationship is very hard. It is very toxic. And you do learn a lot from a karmic situation. You grow a lot as a person. It almost breaks you down as a person. And then you are completely different after that. Some of the signs that I ignored were that I read Landon's matrix chart when we first got together, and in his matrix chart in his past life, it had said that he had cheated on a loved one before. He had chosen lust over love. So he is likely to repeat this in this lifetime, and that's like something he should watch out for. And I remember reading that and I was thinking to myself, I had also read my matrix chart, my family's. I had read it for my ex, and these things had always been very accurate, and the things that they struggle with had been accurate. So I was wondering then, is he a cheater? Like, that's weird. Like, no way. But then it said it is matrix chart, but I didn't have any evidence other than the matrix chart. And, you know, if I break up over the matrix chart, you're gonna call me crazy. But I would tell him these things. I would be like, I have this feeling you're a cheater. And then he would be like, what the fuck? Say like, Sabina, your sister is saying crazy things again. And Sabina was like, Liz, stop self-sabotaging. You're a good guy. And my sister used to say, Liz, if he was a cheater, he would want to leave you, or he would want to go to the US to go see his family or whatever, but he never leaves your side. And I was like, yeah, you're right. Like, there's no way.
Another thing that stuck out to me was the fact that she shared how she had decided she didn't even want to be with Landon because she thought he was toxic or controlling based on that situation that happened with that guy that approached her, and that she was just ghosting the guy. But then when he sent her $10,000, all of a sudden she talked to him again.
Like, after that, like, let's just stay friends and let's just focus on being friends, and that's it. But Landon really wanted me. And I went back home with my friend and I was just going on with my life, and Landon kept messaging me, and I just wouldn't really respond anymore because I didn't want to give him any hope. Or he would message my friend and she also wouldn't really reply. And then I remember one day he called me and I did pick up, and I was like, hey, what's up? And then he was like, look, I really want you to be my wife. Like, I just know you're supposed to be my wife. And he's like, I want to do anything for you. Like, I want to take care of you. Like, send me your bank account details or your PayPal. Like, I want to prove to you that I really want to do anything for you. This is my problem, okay? I don't really get attracted to men. I just get attracted when they do something for me that is like they're taking care of me. Now, where does this stem from? It stems from not having a father figure in my life. So in my life, I'm not looking for a partner, or I'm not looking to be in love. I'm looking to have that stable feeling of a parent or a father loving you, because that's the void that I feel. But then the issue is obviously in the relationship.
And I know she says that it's not about the money, even though later she says that money is the thing that she loves the most. But it's just very confusing. Why would you risk getting into a relationship with another toxic man, according to you anyway, who's reminding you of your abusive, controlling, toxic ex? And by the way you see things, this is God showing you all the red flags from literally date one. And you still choose to get with him just because he sent you $10,000, even though you yourself claim that you make like $70K a month. So $10,000 is like nothing to you. It just sounds very absurd, and it makes me question one of two possibilities here. One, she really is just after guys for their money.
I'm not that in love, because who would be in love with their father, you know, or a representation of their father? No one would. But when someone like a man does,
or two, which actually is more so my gut instinct, I do think she actually liked this guy. I do actually think she had feelings for him.
He was genuinely too good to be true. That's how I would describe him. Like, the past year we were together, he did everything for me. And I'm not just talking money, I'm talking like time. Like, he would take 18-hour flights to come see me. All my bills he paid. Like, all his time he spent with me. Anything I wanted, I did like this, and he bought it for me. Every week I get flowers. Literally a dream guy. Literally a dream guy.
And I think now that things have played out the way they have played out, she's like, I wasn't even into him. I just care about the money. I could just see in the Q&A that that girl had feelings for that guy. She really did seem like she was into him. She really did seem like someone who was in love. And I think he bombed the hell out of her. She fell for it. And now she feels dumb. And she would so much rather be like, or even believe herself, you know, I just care about the money. I wasn't even into him. I was having all these dreams. I cannot wrap my head around the fact that someone who supposedly makes all this money and who just got bad vibes from this guy because he reminded her of her toxic ex, would actually give him a chance only because he sends her $10,000 and even gets pregnant by him. It just really doesn't make sense. So I do think the missing factor here is that she did have feelings for him and possibly still has. And that's why she's meeting up with him all over the world, blaming it on co-parenting, even though the baby hasn't even been born yet. So there are definitely lots of contradictions in this video that people have been rightfully calling out.
And the messages she sent, I had them in the car, and it was literally like my heart dropped into my stomach. That is a feeling I would not wish upon anyone. Just my heart really, that
on one side she says that her ex wasn't even making all that money, that she even helped him at the end, that she had never been spoiled before.
He was making like 10K a month. Okay, he was in finance, he was making 10K a month, and I went from making nothing to all of a sudden like making 20K, now making 40K, now making 70K, and then more and more and more. And then he's seeing that. He's seeing how much I'm growing and how fast. And for him, said it to me, he was like, you know, I feel like I can't do anything for you anymore. I feel like you make too much money. And he said like, I'm not comfortable in the position where you're making more money than me, because he's like, I don't think I can impress you anymore. So then also like our relationship dynamics started to become very weird, or they start being like, oh, I have financial issues and this and that. Can you help me with this? Can you help me with that? And with my ex, like I gave him money even when we broke up because he was telling me he had financial issues. And obviously I'm not going to be stingy or not help him. He had bought me a lot of stuff. He had helped me as well. So I was not going to be stingy. So I did help him.
But in other videos, she has said that she owns multiple Birkins, which are the most expensive bags out there.
How to get a Birkin from men.
Well, I mean, I got a Birkin, and just because I asked, I said I like the bag.
From all her boyfriends, and that they spoiled her and gave her all this money and pay for her hotels and for her luxury apartments. So there's a lot of contradictions there for sure, which, you know, it's a private life, but it does of course make people wonder whether she is sharing the full truth on everything. There are also the money contradictions, because on one hand she says she doesn't really care about money, but on the other hand she's willing to, you know, allow this guy to supposedly be toxic and controlling and jealous and possessive like her ex because he sent her money. And also money is the love of her life and money is all she's cared about. And I actually love men, I just want their money. She also to me comes off a bit naive when she talks about the excuses that Landon has told her about why he cheated.
And he told me like, Liz, I never wanted to leave you. That's not the thing why I did it. Then tell me that I'm your partner, you know, I'm like your wife, I'm carrying your child, tell me, like I can understand these things. Mom, like my ex had that, and then Landon, they love the chase, you know, that's the thing. These type of men will love to chase you, but they don't love it when they have you, or they don't appreciate it when they have you. So I think when Landon like first got with me, the fact that he could do all these things and like buy me things and then win me over, and then eventually when I come to a point where I'm even like, can you stop buying me stuff because it's like a little bit excessive, he would like kind of get turned off by me. It's almost like, you know how they want someone to be constantly mean to them or dismissive of them or cold towards them. And my ex was the same way. Once I started being nice to him, once I started showing him love, he was the same way. He would like completely, he would drop his standards. He wouldn't like me as much. But then when I returned to being mean or dismissive, they love me so much. And then they like try to win me over all again. But then it's just a game. It's a constant game. But you have to imagine if they didn't get enough love from their mother, for example, that is how their mother was. Like, for example, with my ex was a cold woman, was very dismissive towards him. So for him also, that's what he's trying to recreate in the relationship with me. If you look at the relationship, me and the two serious relationships that I had, which was Landon and my ex, we're both doing the same thing. My ex was trying to recreate his childhood with his mom in me and looking for like a mother figure. And I think Landon was doing the same thing. He wanted a love like a mother. I could not give that to him.
And this is so common, you know, when I was cheated on, and I'm sure many of you guys can relate to, when I was a lot younger, I also got similar excuses. It was very like, oh, you know, I'm insecure and I just wanted validation and this and that. Yeah, sure, but if you ask most men, and if you actually are willing to hear their frank answer, especially when they're cheating at this kind of age, like in their 20s, and they're addicted to porn, or they're following all these girls online, or whatever it is, it's usually simply because their lustful brain takes over. They just want someone new, they just want variety, and I think this was what's going on with Landon. He just saw himself alone in this Texas place, hadn't been alone without Liz for a while, and there's this girl from the past that is very attractive. I saw a picture of her back in the day, and he probably thought he had a chance with her, and he went ahead and did it. He even himself said that it was all a moment of weakness. So I do think it's more that route than the whole like, oh, he's insecure and seeking validation and his mother didn't love him. I think these are lies that many women tell themselves to be able to accept the situation for more than it actually is, which is just a lustful boy not being able to control himself. I think that part hurts our ego more, to think that the cheater just wants someone new or different and it has nothing to do with us, than to be like, oh, well, actually he's insecure and, all these traumas and I did this and that. And of course, many times it is because of things like this. But in cases like this, and just because of the frank conversations that I've had with men over the years, which used to be my job, I tend to be a bit less naive regarding this topic. Which, by the way, I have made a whole video that explains why, the brutal truth as to why men cheat, that I can leave up here if you want to check it out. Don't go there if you're someone who can't handle the truth. I'm just gonna put it out there. Anyway, guys, so I did like Liz a lot in this video. She seemed a lot more humble. She comes up a bit know-it-all and arrogance in a lot of her videos, which I guess is part of her appeal, but she does come off so like, I know everything and I'm gonna tell you this and that. And
people settle for like anything, like literally like, oh my god, he texts me good morning, sleep.
And here she comes off a lot more humble and a lot more, maybe I don't actually know everything, like I told you all that I did.
So happy, like the good thing that came out of this is like I donated $50,000, $5,000 to 10 different single moms, and I'm so happy this happened. Like I'm so happy the situation happened because I could have helped so many women, and I'm gonna continue doing that. I have done this before, and I was really happy. And then a lot of people are like, Liz, why aren't you sad? Or you should be more.
So at least that's the vibe I got. I do really applaud that once again, that she is taking some accountability for all the red flags that she missed and sharing, what she could have done or whatever. For me, where it loses it, the video at least, is the second half or so, when she starts saying the whole spirituality thing. When she starts saying that she was having so many dreams about this going to happen, and she was questioning Landon and his matrix chart, and which, by the way, I looked up what a matrix chart is, and it's literally they add up the numbers of your birthday, not even birthday and like birth time and the place you were born, like astrology, just your birthday. They sum it all up, and from that they can tell your destiny. And I don't know, it's not really the kind of thing I believe in personally, and I am someone who considers herself spiritual, but that's just a bit much for me to consider that my whole destiny is written in the sum of my birthday. Does that mean that I have the same destiny as everyone else who was born that day on that same year? Anyway, I digress. But yeah, she really makes all these points about how she was having these dreams and she was having intuition.
Another sign that I ignored was I was getting dreams and intuition. Yes, oh my god, even in the Q&A, the one before, when I filmed that Q&A with Landon, I didn't think anything of it. But when I saw a clip on TikTok go viral of me saying to Landon, he's talking about forgiveness and you should always forgive or whatever. And then I say to him, I go like, yeah, it depends if the person is like texting people, that's not forgivable. I don't know why I said that. I don't know how I said that. I don't know what hell that came from. But me and Landon watched that video together and we thought that was so normal. And we were like, that was such a good video. We didn't even think about any of that. When I saw that back, I was like, how the fuck did I literally predict this? Also, before that, I had went to Dubai with my sister after me and Landon spent 3 months together in Switzerland. I had to go back to get some boxes because I was moving to the US and I still had some stuff there. So I went back and I was there with my sister for like 1 week, and Landon was 1 week in Dallas, and then we're gonna meet in London for my birthday. So then I remember when I was in Dubai, I had a dream where I see Landon and I see another girl and I'm also in the dream, and then all of a sudden Landon is with this girl. He's cheating on me in front of me, but the girl is confused that I'm angry, and I'm like, what the fuck are you guys doing? And then she looks at me confused in the dream, and then Landon is like trying to manipulate me into thinking that this is normal. So I'm like so confused. But then in the dream, I remember I was going to my family to tell them like, this is over, we're done. And then the dream basically ended with Landon like on the bench, like whittling his head down, and he was really sad. And I woke up from that dream, and I felt that this dream was a message. And I get dreams, and these dreams happen. So when I, for example, had a friend, this was even when I was with Landon, he saw it happen in real life. Like I had a friend, and that friend had like gossiping about me or whatever, okay? I had a dream about that night. Like that this friend of mine was talking shit about me, doing whatever, and that I couldn't trust this friend. So I woke up and I told Landon like, oh my God, I had this dream about this friend. Landon was like, oh, you're crazy, whatever. So then what happened is that same day, me and Landon, we found everything out like through another friend, and what I had dreamt was true. So he then said like, whoa, Liz, like you're scary. Your dreams actually happen. And I said, yeah, I've always had this. So he knew that. So I had that dream about him then cheating. So what I did, I FaceTimed him when I woke up, and I said, Landon, I had a dream where you were cheating on me and manipulating me into thinking this is normal. And I said, are you cheating on me? And he said, what the fuck? No. He's like, I'm actually so offended you would say that to me, blah, blah. And we had a whole fight. But I said, Landon, I don't dream things for no reason. And he's like, no, you're just crazy, blah, blah. I said, okay, I might be crazy. I don't know. But it felt wrong, and I didn't forget about it. So then what happened? A week later, I go to London to see Landon, and we're gonna celebrate my birthday and everything. And I'm sleeping next to him. I'm sleeping, and guess what? Same dream happens again. Same exact dream. There's a girl is having an affair with this girl. This girl is confused why I'm angry, and I'm like literally like, what the fuck are you guys doing? He is then again manipulating me in the dream that this is normal. I wake up from this dream with severe heartbreak. Like my heart felt like it was broken into pieces when I woke up, like genuinely hurt. I look at Landon, I wake him up. I said, Landon, this is the second time I had this dream. I said, are you cheating on me? And he said, what the fuck? I'm right here next to you. Are you crazy? Blah, blah. And Sabina was also with us at the Airbnb. So he calls Sabina. He's like, Sabina, your sister is literally overreacting again. She's trying to cause a fight. And Sabina was like, Liz, like, calm down. And I was like, Sabina, my heart is literally broken. I feel heartbreak. There's no way. And then she was like, no, Liz, stress yourself out. You're pregnant. Relax. Like, there's nothing. Like, and she looks at Landon and she says, he has to be so stupid to be cheating on you because he will lose everything. And Landon is like, yeah. But then I couldn't let this shit go. So what did I do? I went to Hyde Park with my sister. We went to walk. And I told Sabina, I said, Sabina, it doesn't feel right. There's no way. I said, this is a sign. This is a sign. And she said, okay, Liz, listen. Don't just ask for vague signs. Ask God right now, pray to God right now, and ask him to give you a clear sign, to show you the truth, the harsh truth. And I said, okay. So I prayed there. I said, God, please. I said, show me who he really is. Show me the harsh truth. And then, yeah, 3 days later, I received those messages from that girl. And I saw it. And then, yeah. It's so crazy when you ask God to show you who people are or to remove any bad people from your life. You'll often see that the people closest to you get removed or they get revealed for the bad intentions that they had with you.
And at the beginning of the video, she actually says that she would have never thought that he was going to cheat on her and there were no signs. But
there was not one bone in my body that would have thought that Landon was cheating on me. There's not one time I found something, not in his phone, not anything. Like, genuinely, this guy was attached to my hip. There's nothing going on. And also with the cheating, like, oh my God, he never left my side. Never, ever, ever. Like, even if I would push him to go to the US, go see your family, He would go for 2 days and he would come back. His phone was always open. I knew his password. He knew my password. We had one phone that was connected. So his messages, his FaceTime, everything would get received on that phone, and mine too. So we were really up in each other's business. He had my location. I had his location the whole year. So it's so weird. And on top of that, he's just literally spending all of his money on me. And the same with my ex. Like, my ex spent almost all of his money on me, so much that he got into debt. To me, it's so weird that these guys will go to such lengths and they end up doing something so weird. And with Landon, it's not even like that he wanted out of the relationship. I told him throughout our relationship, Landon, if you ever feel like you want to leave this relationship, I'm more than happy you can leave, but just don't betray me. I would constantly tell him that. Don't betray me. I don't want to be betrayed. I would much rather have you tell me I don't want you or whatever and leave. And he said, yeah, of course. But obviously we saw what happened. And even after that happened, like, genuinely still wants to be together. He wants to be with me. He wants to have our family.
But she contradicts herself once again, saying that actually she knew it all, and she just knew that this was going to happen, and his matrix chart said that it would happen, and that she even asked God for a sign with her sister, and 3 days later she got this message. And, I'm not calling her a liar. I just think there might be some exaggeration of the truth here. I do think the way she paints it, like she was having these dreams that always magically come true, and she always asks God for these signs, and right away she gets them. It just seems like either she's someone completely and entirely different from the rest of us. She's so much more connected to a higher entity than the rest of us. But wouldn't she have avoided Landon if that was the case? Wouldn't she have had some sort of dream and just not gone with him despite the $10,000? So she's either just connected to the higher powers so much more than the rest of us mere mortals, and she just has some crazy intuition and divination skills than the rest of us mere mortals don't have, or I think she might be exaggerating things a bit. And why I think she's doing this is because it's so much easier, and she might not even realize that she's doing it because of that, but I think it's what's happening. It's so much easier to sit here and be like, guys, I actually really did know in my heart, in the deepest of my heart, I did know that this was going to happen because his matrix chart and God gave me signs and I had all these dreams. So I knew actually, so I am actually in control. My advice works. I knew this whole time. I didn't fail y'all. I didn't fail myself. I am in control. It's so much easier to twist things that way than to be here like, y'all, I actually fucked up. I know I gave you all this advice, but I didn't even follow it myself. I got pregnant by a man that loved the fuck out of me, and who actually was very similar to my ex in certain controlling patterns, and who I was maybe having even dreams about, and who I had known for just less than a year before I was carrying his baby. And I messed up, and I know so many of you look up to me and think that I'm this way behind the scenes, whereas in reality, I'm not.
And it's the first time that I really stopped isolating myself, because this is what I do, okay? I get into a relationship, I isolate with my partner, we don't leave our house, and we just stay like that. Like, same with my ex. I would not leave, I would not make friends. Like, I would just spend all day with him every time. So I isolate myself on purpose because I think I feel safe when I isolate myself. That doesn't make the relationship healthy. It becomes such an unhealthy, boring relationship because you're literally like a 70-year-old couple. Same with Landon, we just isolated constantly. When it ended, I honestly felt like, like finally, I felt like I can now go and travel, and I wanted to do those things. So then I took my sister, we traveled all over Europe. We had the best time. Like, I had such a great summer, like, honestly.
Because if she said that, her advice would become extremely invalid. And here's the thing, I actually do think it would work for her, because the people her haters, which I'm not, I've said it before, I actually like her content and I actually like her, and I've enjoyed watching this maturing growing up that she's doing. But the people who hate her, they're going to hate her no matter what she says. And her fans are going to stand by her no matter what she says. Both of which are toxic. I think it's good as viewers, of anybody, that we have some critical thinking here, and we don't take everything that people say online as the Holy Bible, that we do discern here and there, and that we do decide what actually works, what's right for us more than anything. So I do wish she would have kept that accountability that she was doing in the first part of the video all throughout. That would have been so impressive and so amazing for me. But I still think it's great that she at least took some responsibility for some of the stuff she said. The spirituality part, I think it's half cop-out, half cognitive dissonance. I don't really know what it is. I'm sure she did get some dreams and some intuition and some signs, because we often do. People often do. I've met both men and women that their partner was cheating on them and they did get signs or dreams or, you know, intuitive feelings. So I'm sure that happened in some way, but the extent to which it happened, it makes me doubt if it happened exactly like that, or if she's just using it as a way of being like, actually, you know, I always knew, because I always know, because I'm always in control. That's more so the vibe that I'm getting from the way she's framing it. But I could be wrong, of course. And I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this whole situation. And my heart goes out to her, and I hope she's having a good pregnancy and that people, I don't know, leave her alone and she stays off social media and figures out something with Landon. I'm sure we'll have more episodes about this. I would love to hear you in the comment section. Give me your likes, subscribe, and I will see you very soon.